Hello, party people, and welcome back to Daryl D TV. So happy you could join me. This video is gonna be a fun one. Um, it's gonna be fun because it's kind of different, but at the same time, still along those same lines that you've known Daryl D TV to be. Um, I have to start off this video by giving a huge shout out to Brother James SD. This is a brother who's pretty new to YouTube. Welcome to the YouTube world. He's a record guy, like so many of us. He's a collector, like so many of us, and he put out his first video showcasing his record room, showcasing a lot of his collectibles, a lot of his collectible records, and a lot of cool stories and experiences. If you follow my channel and you dig my record related videos, then you will love this brother's channel. You will love this video that he's doing. It was very excited, and I was so happy when he finally put it out for all of us to see. I will leave a link to his video down below so you can check that out. But Brother James SD, thank you for the shout out on your video. I'm so happy that you dig the channel and whatnot. And I kind of made this video in response to your first video. So this is for you, Brother James. Now check this out. When you put your video out, there were some things that you spoke about in your video that just really got me excited, and I was just compelled to make a similar video about some of the things that you showed and some of the topics that you spoke on. And so that's what I'm gonna do right now real quick, is just kind of give you my perspective on some of the same things that you spoke about on your video. So here we go, James. Check this out. You talked about the Joe Tex I Gotcha 45, which you said was the first record you ever bought. Well, I want to show you the first record I ever bought. That first record is none other than UTFO, the first self-titled record released by this group. UTFO. Now, let me give you some insight on this record. I bought this record when I was 16 years old. It was in my hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I bought it from a record store called Rent-A-Record. And Rent-A-Record was a store where you went in and you could actually rent records. I used to, as a high school kid, I wasn't buying a ton of vinyl, but I was buying vinyl and I was buying cassette tapes. And what I would do is I would go to Rent-A-Record every now and then, and I buy one or two records, and you could buy them for $7 a piece, and you could keep them the whole weekend, bring them back like Sunday, and they would buy them back for $5 a piece. So you got the record for basically $2 for the weekend, and I would just take those records home and record them onto cassette tape and then take the records back. But this record in particular was a record that I actually bought outright and kept it. And this is the actual copy. And so this is the first record that Daryl D ever bought. And if you look real closely there, you'll see that I got it autographed by Mixmaster Mike. I'm sorry, Mixmaster Mike. The Mixmaster Ice, the DJ for UTFO. And another thing that you mentioned the Tools of War Park Jams in Crotona Park in the Bronx in New York. This is where I actually got this autograph from Mixmaster Ice, was from Crotona Park. And we'll talk about that a little bit more very soon. So there you have it. My first record. James, your first record was Joe Tex I Gotcha on 45. My first record I ever bought was a self-titled UTFO album, and later got it autographed. All right. Now, another record that you pulled out was the incredible battle between the Cold Crush Brothers and the Fantastic Romantic 5, put out by none other than DJ Charlie Chase. Yes, brother, I too have this record. I was excited when you pulled this out because this is a classic if you're into old school rap like I am, like you are. The viewers, you guys, you got to check this out. You got to check this battle out right here. And another reason why I wanted to show this is because I actually got a few autographs on here. If you look up here in the corner, this is Kevy Kev Rockwell. That's his autograph. Right here, you have Grand Wizard Theodore. Down here in the corner, you have Grandmaster Caz. And right over here, you have Waterbed Cav. Fantastic Romantic. Fantastic Romantic. Fantastic Romantic. Grand Wizard Theodore. Where'd he go again? Where'd he go? Oh, up here. Fantastic Romantic. And of course, down here in the corner, you got Caz from the Cold Crush Brothers. So, all my autographs are guys in this group. What a great record. What a great record to spotlight. You did it, now I'm doing it. I was very excited when you pulled this record out. By Charlie Chase. And I've gotten to meet Charlie Chase a few times over the years. I believe he lives in Miami now, so he's not in New York that much. But I've caught him a couple times in New York over the years. And just a real cool, down-to-earth brother. You know what I mean? And wow. This is a great record. Cool record for you to showcase. Okay, the next record that I want to show you guys is a record that James pulled out, and it was Live Convention 81. This is a classic. Now let me tell you how I found mine. I found mine in New York City, probably about 5, maybe 6 years ago. And I'm in Harlem. I'm walking, I believe, I was on 125th and Lenox. I'm walking up Lenox because I wanted to go see the Big L mural, which is, I believe, on 137th and Lenox, somewhere in there. And if you are familiar with the New York streets, you know, people sell stuff on the streets everywhere in New York. And I'm walking past this guy, and he had like a tarp laid out on the ground, and he had all of these records laying on it. And I saw this record, and I couldn't believe it. I knew what it was. I had never heard it at that time, up until that time, but I knew what it was. I knew it was a heavy record to get. And man, so as I got closer, I also saw that the guy selling the records, he had 2 original Octopus breaks, 12 inches, sitting down there. And I was just like, wow. So I go up there and I go, hey man, how much are the records? And he says, well, what records are you looking at? And I pointed to the 2 Octopus breaks records. And he said, oh, those are $2 a piece. Okay, no problem. And then I pointed to this record and I said, how much is this one? And he goes, oh, now that one, that's an old school one right there. That one is $5. Oh, really? $5? Oh, okay, no problem. So I snatched up all 3 of those records for $9. Gave the dude a $10 bill. Kept it moving. This record is credited with being the first record that features scratching on it. Now, Live Convention is actually a live performance. It's a live concert that was recorded and then pressed on to vinyl. So this really is the first record where you can hear scratching on it. The first piece of vinyl where you can actually hear scratching on it. Not a studio recording, but a cool recording nonetheless. On one side, I believe you will hear Grandmaster Flash. DJing and scratching. And on another side, I believe you will hear DJ Lightning Lance, who scratches. And the wild thing about it is the day after I found this record, I met Lightning Lance in New York. I forgot, we were somewhere, and I'm with my homeboy John, and John knew Lance, and John introduced me to him. And he goes, "Hey, you remember that record you found yesterday?" "Yeah." "Well, this is the guy who does the scratching on it." So I find this record one day for $5. The very next day, I meet Lightning Lance, one of the DJs who scratches on the record. Very exciting. And at the time, it's kind of gone down in price, but at the time, there were people selling this record for up to $1,200, and it doesn't go for that much anymore, but it's still a pretty expensive record, to buy. And let me just back up here for a second. When I mentioned this DJ Charlie Chase record, the battle between Cold Crush and Fantastic Romantic, these autographs that I also got at the Tools of War Park Jam in the Bronx at Crotona Park. All of these guys are there. Grandmaster Caz, he hosts them. Kevy Kev, DJ's there. Grand Wizard Theodore D. All of these guys are hanging out in the park. So when James said that he forgot his, or it was raining, so he didn't want to take it out, man, I roll there every year, and I have a bag of records with me because I find out who's going to be appearing. And this is one of the records that I will just take just on GP, because between those two groups, you never know who you're going to run into there. And I've run into a lot of legends. If you don't know about the Tools of War Crotona Park Jams, you need to look them up. It is the most exciting party. If you're into the old New York style park jams that they did back in the 70s and 80s, that's what these parties are all about. I do believe at this point Grandmaster Caz is running those parties, so you may be able to research it under Grandmaster Caz Entertainment. The Tools of War were actually Popmaster Fable and Christy Z, but I'm not sure if they're running things. But hopefully they'll be back this year, and we'll keep it going. I have been going myself consistently every year since 2007, with the exception of 2020 because of the pandemic. But trust me, if you are into old school hip-hop culture, whether it be DJing, whether it be b-boying, whether it be MCing, this is the place to be. You name the old school legend, and I've probably met them at Crotona Park every Thursday in July. That's how it's been for several years. So there you have it, Crotona Park Jams. Look him up. It's the greatest party on earth. All right, so I had to throw that in there. So there's one more item that Brother James pulled out that I'm pretty excited about talking about, and that was he pulled this record out, Run DMC Black History / Slow and Low, white label. This is a super rare classic. There were only 200 of these pressed, and from what I'm told, this is a bootleg. Who bootlegged it? You got me. But this is definitely a bootleg. Let me give you a little background on this record, on these songs, and on the Crate Diggers video that Brother John mentioned. Okay, Run DMC Black History was actually a song that was released on cassette tape. 1985. Now, this cassette tape, I'll get this out of here. This cassette tape was a promotion that Run DMC did with Johnson & Johnson products back in the 80s. You could only get this cassette tape if you bought a Jerry Curl kit. Remember back the Jerry Curl kits that would come in the box? Well, during this promotion, they put one of these cassettes inside of each of those Jerry Curl kits. And that's the only way that you could get this cassette. This was never available for retail. It's Run DMC Black History on the front, and on the back was a song called Famous First, recorded by Kurtis Blow. And this obviously was a promotion for Black History Month. They called it Black History Rapology, and this is where Run DMC Black History came from. So this piece of vinyl is the first place, or actually the first release of Black History on vinyl. Super duper rare. When this came out, a lot of people had never heard of the song Black History because, like I said, it wasn't on any of the Run DMC records. They never had a video for it. It was never talked about. If you didn't know about it, you didn't know. There was a piece of footage that I recorded. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore. I believe I recorded it off of PBS back in the 80s. I think it was 86, and they were actually performing Black History. And unfortunately, a bunch of my VHS tapes were stolen back then, so I don't have that footage anymore. And I hope, I hope it pops up somewhere again so I can see it. But yeah, there was actually a little bit of footage. But this is the only vinyl release ever. Now, the B-side is a song called Slow and Low. A lot of us are familiar with the Beastie Boys, recording Slow and Low. But Run DMC actually recorded it first, and Run DMC wrote it. There are slight differences in the song. One, for instance, is, the Beastie Boys say, White Castle fries only come in one size. On here, DMC says, I see real good because I have 4 eyes. So there's a few differences in the song that way, but it's pretty much, the lyrics are pretty much the same. The beat is completely different. This is just a kick and a snare over the whole beat. Classic old school Run DMC stuff that you heard from the 80s. And Slow and Low, the Run DMC version, was released on, I believe, the Raising Hell remastered CD. So that you can find it on CD, but this is the only vinyl version of it that is out, that has ever been released. And this record came out in 2009. 200 copies, like I said before, and this is number 8 out of 200. Now, Brother James on this show, he kind of spoke about the Crate Diggers episode with DJ Scratch. And DJ Scratch shows the stampers, the metal stampers that's used to actually press the vinyl and for this song. So if you've seen that, if you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. It's on YouTube, Crate Diggers, the DJ Scratch episode. What happened is, those were the stampers. Those stampers were sold on eBay. And I'm assuming that whoever they were sold to, that person either sold it or gave it or got it to DJ Scratch, or maybe DJ Scratch himself bought it under an alias. I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to ask Scratch. But those stampers went from the owner or the person responsible for pressing that record, and then a few months later Scratch has it, and then it ends up on Crate Diggers, a Crate Diggers episode. So that's a pretty cool story, right? So there you have it. DJ Scratch. This is the record he's referring to when he talks about Slow and Low and Run DMC, and he has the metal stampers. This is the record that those stampers represent. This is the song that those records represent. All right. So there you have it. Those are the records that I wanted to highlight. Again, shout outs and big ups to Brother James SD, who did an incredible video, and he mentioned some of these same records and some of these same topics. And like I said, I just felt compelled to kind of continue the conversation because I thought some of these points I brought out were pretty interesting and would be a pretty good compliment to his video. So again, check him out. His channel is called simply Brother with an A, Brother James SD. His video is cool. I'm looking forward to more. He's gonna be talking a lot about different records in his collection and whatnot. And so we'll just sit back and wait for it, and hope to see a whole lot of videos coming from this brother. So thank you again for tuning in and for watching. This is Daryl D. Until I see you next time, you guys stay healthy, stay safe, and stay positive. Peace and love.